You're listening to Easy Travels, an original podcast from Nexion Travel Group. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Easy Travels podcast. My name's Chris, joined as always by the incomparable Coach Martin Mussey, and also today by another guest, Nexion's own Arika Banghart, recently promoted to the role of Senior Manager of Sales. So, Arika, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I'm thrilled to be here.
Glad to have you with us. And just before we get started, can you just give us a quick 30-second rundown of your role, your history here with Nexion, or just in the travel industry more broadly?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been with Nexion on the kind of business side of things for almost 6 years now, which is hard to believe. And prior to that, I was an independent contractor with Nexion. So I've been overall in the industry about 10 years.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you with us. And, I wanted to just today, real quick, before we get into anything else, I wanted to kick us off today with a discussion about New Year's resolutions. It is the top of the new year after all. And so what do we think about setting resolutions? I've heard different opinions. I know you have your own thoughts about this, Martin, but are we in favor? Are we not in favor? And if not in favor, what's your alternative practice, if any?
This is always a good one. Hey, everyone. I'm going to let somebody else go first. Arika, do you have a thought?
Sure. So I am not really in favor. So I feel like sometimes resolutions can be a bit trite. I think, everybody probably wants to lose a few pounds, maybe get into the gym a little bit more, maybe hopefully travel a little bit more. That's a great one. But, I prefer instead to set an intention for the year. I think that that's a little bit more, I don't know what the word would be for that, but I feel like it gives you direction and kind of a focus to set your energy for the upcoming year.
I like that. Hey, I'm in the same camp, by the way. I'm sort of not in the favor of resolutions. I'm sorry. You just look around, you hear how many times people have set them and, they've gone by the wayside, if not by the end of 2 weeks into the month, by the end of January, certainly no longer than the first quarter of an entire year. So my alternate practice, this is one of my favorites that I like to share with people, is I like thinking of a word for the year, a motivational word for the year. And I can think back to a year where my one word for the year was inspire. And, if I felt a little bit lost in the year or whatever, I would just look to that word and I would have that in my mind and it would keep me focused and motivated for the year. So that is my practice there. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, it's interesting. I agree with both of you. I think setting too lofty a resolution can kind of set yourself up for disappointment sometimes. But something I kind of like to do, in addition to setting an intention, is instead of I'm going to do this is a thing that I don't want to carry into the new year with me. So maybe it's something like getting into pointless arguments or worrying about things that I have no control over. That's just something that I either just want to leave behind completely or at least do less in the coming year. And I kind of feel like, in general, for me, that's been easier than saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, scale Everest or whatever big goal it is. Instead of saying that, I'm just going to say, here's something that I don't want to do, that I don't necessarily need in my life or don't want to carry forward anymore. And I find that generally has worked for me.
Love that.
Yeah, nice. I'm shocked that neither of you asked me about my word for this year.
What's your word, Martin?
Yeah.
Well, since you asked, no, my word this year, by the way, is explore. And that's can be, found all kinds of things. And it's actually connected to, something I'm doing here in the arts at the beginning of the year. So the word is explore.
I love that. When I said, my kind of favorite thing is the intention. And I too have a word for this year, and I'll share it since you shared yours. Mine's curiosity. So I kind of have an eagerness to, learn more, be open to people, places, and experiences, both personally and professionally.
Nice. Well, one of the things we know about a New Year's, whether it's about resolutions or anything like that, With a new year comes new hopes, new dreams, aspirations. And, not just us, but there's lots of people out there really thinking about what it is that they want to do in the new year. And one of the things that we know, and I'm sure many people turn their attention to maybe starting up a business or becoming an entrepreneur. And so being right here in the travel business, we get the opportunity to talk to lots of people who have that dream. Arika, in your position and in your new position overseeing sales, what are some of your experiences that you hear from people? What really motivates them to look into travel as a business?
Yeah, that's great. I do have the ability to speak to so many different people. I feel very privileged to do so. There are a lot of factors that can go into it. Oftentimes it is discontentment in their current situation. Maybe they have a desire to, be in control of their schedule, maybe working from home. Some of my favorite conversations are with people who, obviously not only love to travel, I think they're already that de facto planner. They're the ones that their friends and family members come to, that are always asking for advice, know that they love to travel and, kind of want to already tap into that expertise. And somewhere along the way, they sort of have that aha moment, that epiphany, if you will, where they think, oh my goodness, I like doing this. And there might be a way that I could actually monetize doing something that I'm already doing for my friends and family and something that I love. So, I think that is a really easy transition and progression for somebody to move towards.
Hello. And just pivoting off of that a little bit, how have most people found Nexion? I mean, what is the sort of foot in the door for Nexion specifically for the people who found it?
Yeah, I would say probably the most successful are those that come to us via word of mouth. So either from maybe someone in the industry or from our Nexion advisors. Maybe they have advised them on their own travel, or, they know that they're in their community, they're friends of theirs. And that has been a great referral source for us here at Nexion.
Hello.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that thought in a little bit. But first, I have something to ask you. In your experience and talking to all these folks, have you found that there's any one or more, I'm sure it's more, particular qualities that sort of make for a good advisor, somebody getting into this business?
Yeah, definitely. Starting any business endeavor can be a little scary. So I think definitely having an entrepreneurial spirit is something that is important. Realizing that it's going to take a little bit to get where you want to go, but, being excited by that journey and what you can bring to the table. Obviously, somebody who, loves to travel, that is kind of a prerequisite, but it also helps to know people, in your kind of circle, if you will, that travel regularly.
I'm going to throw a little extra bonus question out here because I just sort of thought about this. Well, like when you're, talking with folks, a lot of people, know that do something you love, that you're passionate about. But how do you talk to them about the realities of owning a business and what it is to make it succeed? Because on the flip side, I hear from folks who sort of get into it and they're like, wow, I didn't realize, this is a little bit harder than I thought. How do you prepare them for that?
Absolutely. I think being, really upfront in those initial conversations, the work that it's going to take to be successful in the industry, understanding travel is very different from a lot of other professions in the way that you are paid. Obviously you're paid on commission, but when you receive the commission is important to understand. So people, come into it knowing that it definitely takes some time to get their business off the ground and start seeing that revenue coming in. And, I have found that that tends to be a big stumbling block for another lot of new advisors. So I think that educational component, not only in that initial conversation, but I think ongoing education as they are embarking on something new is one of the most important components for success.
Yeah.
Erica, I have a very important question.
Okay.
This is something I want to ask you specifically because we all love travel here, right? Like we're in this industry for a reason. While we all like going places. But if you had to stay, if you had to be stuck in a particular place for an entire year. So let's say any city or town on planet Earth, you have to be stuck there for a year. You can't drive away. You can't fly away. You're just living in this place for 365 days.
Yeah.
Do you know where you would choose?
Before Erica answers, I almost think I could guess, but go.
Well, I have a country. Now, if I had to list it specifically, oh gosh, I know the country that Martin is thinking, but I think I'm going to throw a little bit of a wrench. And I'm going to say that Thailand would be where I would want to spend an entire year. I'm guessing Martin was thinking Scotland, but
I was.
with all the dear to my heart.
Yes, but the question, it was still, you gave a country, wasn't it? The question, a city?
Was it?
And
All right, there you go. Phuket, Thailand.
Okay.
yes, it begs the question, how and why?
Oh gosh, it is a place that I've been fortunate enough to visit, and I spent over 3 years, I wish, over 3 weeks in that area. I explored all kinds of different regions, and we were there with family friends that have sailed around the world, and they stopped in Thailand and never left. They said it was, their most favorite place, and it absolutely is magical. And so, I had the privilege of spending some time on their boat and sailing around some of the different islands. And it was just such a special place. Unfortunately, the most beautiful area that we were able to visit was just I can't even describe it, this little beach bungalow area called Ao Sains that unfortunately was devastated in the tsunami that they had. So that's kind of sad to me, but still Thailand holds a very, very special place in my heart. The food, the people, the scenery, everything about it is just magic.
That's amazing. Well, you make me want to go. And when you have that opportunity to go someplace that you have friends who've been there and love it as well, it sounds like you got a great introduction to that country for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I hope we all get to get stuck there for a year someday.
Yes, me too. That would be great.
Well, listen, this has been a great conversation with you, Arika. I don't think we can leave this discussion without asking you. We have many listeners to the podcast, many who are both advisors of ours and those who may have found us, through listening and may have either heard about Nexion or just following the podcast. So help us and help them know that if somebody was interested in the travel business and maybe looking into Nexion, how do they go about it?
Absolutely. So, obviously we've got a lot of great information on our website, and that's nexion.com. Or if they're interested in speaking to someone, they can reach out to our amazing sales team, and that phone number is 1-800-747-6813.
That is fantastic. Now for current advisors, we have a referral program. Yes, no?
We do. We call it our thank you program. Yeah. And so, if you're listening and you are a Nexion advisor and you've got that friend, that client that you think would be a great fit to become an advisor and partner with us, you can find information on My Nexion under the Nexion Hub in our business center. And the program is actually called our Thank You program.
All right. Good to know. Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you for any final thoughts, comments before we let Arika go.
Well, Arika, thank you very much for joining us today. I'm really thinking a lot about Thailand now, so I appreciate you planting those seeds in my head. But until next time, thank you, Arika. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And from all of us here at Nexion to you, easy travels.
Easy travels.
Easy travel.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Drop us your thoughts or even show topic ideas in the comments of this episode, or email us at communications@nexion.com.